Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. This is a special video on the monthly policy review which has been released by PRS Legislative Research, and we'll be discussing MPR for the month of September 2020. So whatever news that has been reported in the September edition, we'll discuss that, and most crucially I have filtered some of the important news that would be relevant for you in the examination. So let's get started. So this is a brief about the PRS Legislative Research. It is an independent think tank institute which do basically the research activities in terms of the legislative processes, the bills, everything which is there. So this is a Delhi-based institute. The main aim is to release the data analysis with regards to the member of parliament and the member of legislative assembly who are working in the parliament, right? So this is all about the PRS Legislative Research. And those of you who are new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. And if you like this video, do not forget to give a thumbs up. So let's get started with the topic first. So the first topic in this edition is FDI policy in the defense amendment. So there's a amendment in the defense policy with regards to the FDI, the foreign direct investment. So let's see what is there in the news. So the Ministry of Commerce has notified some changes with regards to the foreign direct investment, and this is specifically for the defense sector. क्योंकि आपको पता होगा डिफेंस सेक्टर में जो FDI की बातें थी आफ्टर द लॉकडाउन इट हैज बीन लॉन्ग पेंडिंग एंड इट वाज ऑलवेज बीइंग आर्ग्यूड दैट द गवर्नमेंट शुड इंक्रीज द FDI. So the policy is applicable in the sectors that is subject to license under the Industrial Development and Regulation Act of 1951 and Arms Act 1959. तो ये दो चीज आपको काफी ध्यान में रखनी है. Now, when it's come to FDI, the policy permits 100% FDI in defense sector. This would be through the automatic route, after which the limits will be beyond the government and the approval would be required, right? So the limit, there are some limits which are also set, and 74% is there. I'll tell you that in the detail in the other part of the video. So what are the key changes in the policy? The amendment increases the limit from 49% to 74%. So this is the initial changes that the government has done, the Ministry of Defense has done, and this would be for the FDI under the automatic route. So this would be for the automatic route. Make sure you know this, because many people tend to make mistake when it's come to the statement. So UPSC tend to ask whether it is through automatic route or non-automatic routes, right? So the companies seeking the new industry license will have to come with the automatic routes. Now, बात करें FDI beyond 74%, it is also permitted, but that is subject to the approval of the government. Companies चाहें तो they can have investment more than 74%, but that would be another subject of the government approval, right? और जो revised policy है under which the company will have an existence license receiving the fresh FDI within the limit of 47%. Further, अगर वो increase होती है तो they have to inform the Ministry of Defense if such investment result in the change of the ownership pattern. अगर किसी कंपनी की ownership pattern में changes आ रही है, transfer of stake में changes आ रही है, so this has to be intimated to the Ministry of Defense, right? Now, बात करें proposal of the FDI, if it is going beyond 49% in the companies with existing license, it would require government approval, right? So that is again subject to the government approval. Now coming to the other topic, that is Aircraft Amendment Bill 2020. So this is again a very important topic and very important for your prelims as well as mains examination. So the Aircraft Amendment Bill 2020 was passed in the Parliament, and this amended the Aircraft Act 1934. So this is something which you have to remember. And the act regulate the manufacture, possession, use, operation, sell, import, export of the civil aircraft and the license of aerodromes, right? So these are some of the things would be taken care by this amendment. Now let's see what are the key provision of this bill. So the first is the bill has authorized some authorities to take action. So the bill have converted the 3 existing bodies under the Ministry of Civil Aviation, जिसको नागरिक उड्डयन मंत्रालय भी कहते हैं. So this is a statutory body which would be working under the Ministry of Civil Aviation. So the first body is Director General of Civil Aviation, also known as DGCA. This is one of the most powerful body in the aviation sector. The other is Bureau of Civil Aviation Security, better known as BCAS. And the last is the Aircraft Incident Investigation Bureau. So these are the three body which has been entrusted with the statutory power, right? Now each of this body would be headed by the Director General, would be appointed by the center. Now I'll tell you what are the working of these all three important bodies. So talking about the DGCA, they would carry out the oversight and regulatory functions in a specific or a rules notified under this act, right? So they may include the civil aviation regulation, the air safety, and the airworthiness standard. So the entire and the holistic process that has to be maintained would be coming under the DGCA. Now, talking about the BCAs, it will carry out the regulatory oversight functions that is related to the civil aviation security. By security, I mean कुछ ऐसे specific चीजें like airport के जो operations होते हैं, airline operations and their security agency. So this has to be mandated and regulated by the BCAS. तो ये जो तीनों important body है उसके functions आप जरूर ध्यान रखें, because if the question arises in the mains also, you will easily able to handle it. Now, talking about the AAIB, it would be mostly carrying out the investigation that is related to the aircraft accident and incident. If if an unfortunate happening is there, so this is the body, this is a statutory body which would be taking care of it, right? Now let's see some offenses regarding the offenses and penalties which has been increased. So under this new act, the new act, that is the Aircraft Amendment Bill 2020, so the penalty varies from the offenses, like that would be vary from the imprisonment of 2 years to a fine of up to like 10 lakh rupees in both. So this is something which was the previous provision, and the bill has raised the maximum limit of all these things, like from 10 lakh rupees the penalty has increased to 1 crore rupees. So this is an important point that you have to note. And the offenses that would be included would be carrying arms, explosive and other dangerous goods aboard in the aircraft, construction structure within the specified radius around the aerodrome reference point, and contravening any rules that is notified under this act, the new act, the Amendment Act. If anything that is contravening, that would be again taken as a penalty and would be taken as an offense, right? So these are something that are the categorized under the offense category. Now moving ahead with the other topic, that is National Commission for Homeopathy Bill 2019. This is something which was long pending and government has finally passed it. So some of the changes that would be incurred in the homeopathy sectors that you have to note, we'll discuss that. So the National Commission for Homeopathy Bill 2019 was passed by the Parliament, and the bill seeks to repeal the Homeopathy Central Council Act 1973. तो ये बिल्कुल आप ध्यान रखें, जो होम्योपैथी सेंट्रल काउंसिल एक्ट 1973 है उसको पूरी तरह से रिपील कर दिया गया. Now, the bill creates a framework for regulating the education and practice of the होम्योपैथी. जो होम्योपैथी की स्टडी है इंडिया में, जिस तरह से इसको रेगुलेट किया जा रहा है, चाहे वो एग्जामिनेशन हो या और भी फर्दर रेगुलेशन हो विद रिगार्ड्स टू द प्रैक्टिस ऑफ होम्योपैथी, ये सारी चीज़ें चेंज होंगी अब. सो व्हाट आर द चेंजेस दैट हैज बीन सजेस्टेड? So the key features first include the function of National Commission for Homeopathy. एक National Commission for Homeopathy बनाई जाएगी जिसका main function होगा to frame the policy for regulation of medical institutions like homeopathy medical professional, assessing their requirement of healthcare related to the human resource and infrastructure. जो infrastructure है, जो मानव संसाधन है और जो infrastructure है, उन दोनों को regulate करेगी. Now it would also ensure, this commission, the National Commission for Homeopathy, we would better know as NCH. So NCH would be ensuring that the compliances by the State Medical Council of the Homeopathy and regulation has been made under this bill. So this is something, the important point with regards to the National Commission of Homeopathy, which you have to take a note of it, right? Make sure you remember this point. Now coming to the Advisory Council of the Homeopathy. So the Advisory Council of the Homeopathy would be appointed to function as a primary platform. So ये basically सबसे पहली primary platform होगी जिससे state और union territories can put forth their views and the concern advice to the National Commission of Homeopathy, right? तो ऐसा नहीं है कि directly report नहीं कर सकते, but एक advisory council बनाइए अगर state को कुछ center को recommendations देने हैं, so that would be done by the Advisory Council of the Homeopathy, right? And it would only measure to determine and maintain the minimum standard of the medical education. So medical education with regards to the homeopathy, considering the fact that the minimum standard is met in the country when it's come to the homeopathy studies, right? Now talking about the entrance examination. So the entrance examination would be uniform and this would be done by the National Eligibility Cum Entrance Test. So as you know, NEET is also there for the medical colleges. If you go for MBBS courses, there also we have NET examination. So this is more or less similar to that only. So the National Eligibility Cum Entrance Test for the admission in all medical institution would be regulated by the bill, and a similar post-graduation national entrance test for the admission to the postgraduate courses at the medical institution would be instituted. ना बात करें अगर कॉमन जो फाइनल ईयर के नेशनल एग्जिट टेस्ट होते हैं जो स्टूडेंट्स के लिए जो पीजी के कोर्सेज करते हैं, दे हैव टू गो बाय द नेशनल एग्जिट टेस्ट. सो द स्टूडेंट ग्रेजुएटिंग टू ऑब्टेन द लाइसेंस फ्रॉम प्रैक्टिस, जो बच्चे प्रैक्टिस करना चाहते हैं, एंड द नेशनल एलिजिबिलिटी टीचर टेस्ट फॉर द पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट who wish to take the teaching in the homeopathy as a profession will also be set up, right? So this is something, the new provision that has been included under this bill. Now coming to the other topic, that is National Forensic Science University Bill 2020. As you know, we already have a forensic university in Gujarat named as Gujarat Forensic Science University, but government did some changes and they are coming with a National Forensic Science University. So very, very important for your prelims examination. So the National Forensic Science University Bill 2020 was passed recently by the Parliament. And talking about the key features, so the bill established the Gujarat Forensic Science University in Gandhinagar, that was established under the Gujarat Forensic Science University Act 2008, including the Lok Nayak Jayaprakash Narayan National Institute of Criminology, which is there in the New Delhi. So both these university would be clubbed and they would be together known as National Forensic Science University at Gujarat. And the bill declared the university to be the institutions of national importance. So there are some limited institutions in the country which are considered to be the national importance. So do let me know if you know any of the national institute, any of the institute which is of national importance. You can let us know in the comment section down below. Now the bill also repealed the 2008. So the previous bill which was there in 2008 has again been repealed off. So पूरी तरह से खत्म कर दिया गया. Now the campuses of the university would include the campus of two university and any other campus may be notified further as per the government directive. Right? Now what would be the function of the university? So the entire aim of the university is to provide the training and research in the forensic sciences, applied behavior sciences, law and criminology, right? So these are some of the major functions. The other functions include establishing and maintaining the colleges, schools and research laboratories. And the third would be prescribing courses, holding examination, granting degrees and other distinctions, right? So they would be also giving the courses because there are some other courses like master degree in forensic sciences, master degree in criminology. So the distinction would be also provided from the university itself. Now coming to the other topic, that is the guideline for the development of vaccines, because there have been a lot of debate with regards to the development of vaccine of the COVID-19 and still the ambiguity persists because actually the government has not made it clear in any of the government talking about India and any other country like China, United States and Russia, then when the vaccine would be there in the market. But officially with regards to India, जो हमारे हेल्थ मिनिस्टर है डॉक्टर हर्षवर्धन, he has confirmed that by the first quarter of 2021 possibly there would be vaccine, right? So we are very hopeful and optimistic with regards to that. So let's see what are the news that is coming from the guideline of the vaccine development. So we have we have the national body known as Central Drug Standard Control Organization, also known as CDSCO. So this has released a draft regulatory guideline on development of vaccines for a special focus on the COVID-19 vaccine, right? So what are the detail, what are the guidelines that has been from the ministry? So the guideline seeks to ensure the data generation to measure the immune response. This is the first. The second is conducting the clinical trial to establish safety. The safety is the first and the foremost priority because once the vaccine is administered, there's nothing which cannot reversed off, right? उसको बाद में किसी तरह से वापस नहीं किया जा सकता है. So clinical trial में जो basic safety है उसको पूरा ध्यान दिया जाए, उसमें भी किसी भी तरह की leniency नहीं रखी जा सकती है. This has happened with Russia. You must remember जो स्पुतनिक 5 वैक्सीन थी उसको लेकर के WHO ने ऑलरेडी कहा कि रशिया ने काफ़ी जल्दी की है because the trial that has to be completed by the 2 month has completed in 15 days only, right? So these are some of the important things that has to be taken in this guideline. And vaccines are well characterized and manufacturing consistently. and the stability of the vaccine in storage and throughout its shell life. And the last guideline is assessing the adverse effect of the following immunization and vaccinations, right? We have some other things with like non-clinical trial also. So talking about first the guideline, what are the other key guidelines? So the first has been given with regards to manufacturing. अगर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग की बात करें तो प्रिस्क्राइब की है किस तरह से जो इंश्योर सेफ्टी जो स्टैंडर्ड है मैन्युफैक्चरिंग को लेकर के. सो फर्स्ट इज द यूज ऑफ एप्रोप्रिएट लेबोरेटरी मेथड. दूसरी है कंसिस्टेंसी इन प्रोडक्शंस, use of representative vaccine in lot of preclinical studies, robust stability testing and by the SIDCO and the state licensing authorities. अगर state government कहीं कर रही है तो सारे को लाइसेंस लेनी पड़ेगी SIDCO से. And the non-clinical study to measure the immune response. जो immune response है उसको भी regulate करने की जरूरत है, देखने की जरूरत है. Now coming to the non-clinical trial, so here the guideline of the state, that like the guideline to the state is the COVID-19 vaccine carries a thread of vaccine associated enhanced respiratory disease, also known as ERD. So make sure you know ERD because this is very important. A question can be on the background of this, right? So it prescribes that the non-clinical safety studies before initiating the clinical trial to ensure the minimal risk. Now ERD की अगर बात करें तो ERD होती क्या है? It's a result of certain immunization where antibodies to the infection of the disease are not produced, right? तो ये ERD को आप समझ लें, एक इस तरह के रिजल्ट है जहाँ पे इम्यूनाइजेशन है where antibodies to the infection, जो infection diseases है, are not actually produced, right? So ERD as a concept is very important. Now talking about the immunogenicity. सो यहाँ पे एबिलिटी होनी चाहिए जो फॉरेन सब्सटेंस है, यहाँ पे फॉरेन सब्सटेंस होगी वैक्सीन टू प्रोवोक एन इम्यून रिस्पॉन्स, राइट? सो एवरीथिंग इज डन टू इंक्रीज द इम्यूनिटी. So the study the immunogenicity effort, factors like samples, guideline to the state for the trial has been provided to conduct and analyze the formulation, vaccine response. It will also co-administer and maternal immunization comparative framework. जो maternal immunization की जो comparative framework है वो भी immunogenicity को लेकर के state ने जो central government है that has directed to the state government or any other institution that is conducting the trial of the vaccine, right? Now talking about the assisted reproductive technology regulation bill, तो यहाँ पे कुछ important चीज़ें हैं इस बिल को लेकर के. We already had a discussion in the daily news analysis. So देखते हैं यहाँ पे क्या important चीज़ें हैं. So the assisted reproductive technology bill seeks to provide for regulation of assisted reproductive technology services. So what are the services? What are the key features of the bill? So first talking about the assisted reproductive technology, that is ART. तो बिल ने डिफाइन किया है कि जो ART है that would include the techniques to obtain the pregnancy by handling sperm or oocyte, that is immature egg cell outside the human body. ऐसी चीजें जो human body के outside हो रही है that would be regulated by the ART bill, and transferring the gamete or the embryo to the reproductive system of a woman, right? Now ART की अगर एग्जाम्पल की अगर बात करें तो ART के जो एग्जाम्पल्स हैं लाइक गैमेट, लाइक स्पर्म और oocyte डोनेशन होती है, इन विट्रो फर्टिलाइजेशन है जहाँ पे एग्स को लैबोरेटरी में बेसिकली फर्टिलाइज करके वुमेन के वूब में लास्ट में डाला जाता है. नाउ देयर इज अ गैस्टेशनल सरोगेसी. सरोगेसी इज अ मेथडोलॉजी वेयर चाइल्ड इज नॉट द बायोलॉजिकली रिलेटेड टू द सरोगेट मदर, राइट? तो सरोगेसी को लेकर के भी काफ़ी डिबेट हुई है एंड दिस इज अ पॉसिबल क्वेश्चन विच कैन बी आस्क्ड इन दिस ईयर मेंस एग्जामिनेशन, राइट? Now regulation की बात करें, regulation of ART clinic and banks. So the bill provide that every ART clinic and the bank must be registered under the National Register of Bank and the Clinic of India. So this is the regulatory body for like any ART which is having a regulation or functions, they has to be registered with the Bank of the Clinic of India. Now the National Register would be established under the bill, and the bill will act as a central database with details of the ART clinic and banks in the country, right? Hope these things are clear to you. Now the state government will appoint the registration authorities for facilitating and registration process. So equally the state government would also promote that everything is coming in the transparent manner. Now some conditions for the ART services. The ART services procedures can only be carried out in a written format with the consent of both party seeking ART services as well as the donor. तो ऐसा नहीं है किसी एक की प्रेरोगेटिव होगी. So the consent has to come from both individual. and the party seeking the ART services will required to provide the insurance coverage in favor of the oocyte donor. अगर किसी तरह की डैमेज होती है, लॉसेस होती है, डेथ ऑफ डोनर होती है, so that has to give the insurance of the coverage, right? Now a clinic is prohibited from offering to provide the child predetermined sex, right? So किसी जेंडर को बेसिकली आइडेंटिफाई करना, इस तरह की चीजें पहले भी प्रोहिबिटेड थी और अभी भी प्रोहिबिटेड रहेगी. Now coming to the Occupational Safety, Health and Working Condition Code, this is again an important bill that has been passed by the Parliament. So let's see what are the important things that is coming from this. So the Occupational Safety and Health Working Condition 2020 was passed by the Parliament, and the code consolidates 13 existing acts that regulates to health, safety and working condition of the worker. And these include the Factory Act 1948, Mines Act 1952 and the Contract Labor Regulation and Abolition Act 1970. तो आप इन तीनों चीज़ों को बहुत ही ध्यान से रखें, क्योंकि this is something which has clubbed and these include these things, right? So this has become important for you. Now coming to the other part, that is the coverage. What are the key features of the bill? So the coverage, the code will apply to the establishment employing at least 10 worker. कोई भी ऐसी जगह, कोई भी ऐसे एस्टैब्लिशमेंट जहां 10 लोग से ज़्यादा काम कर रहे हैं या 10 लोग के आसपास है, ये उस पर अप्लाई करेगी. एंड द बिल अप्लाई टू ऑल माइंस, डॉक, एस्टैब्लिशमेंट कैरिंग आउट द एनी हजार्डियस और लाइफ थ्रेटनिंग एक्टिविटी दैट मे बी नोटिफाइड बाय द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट, राइट? नाउ एग्जेम्पशंस की अगर बात करें तो द एप्रोप्रिएट गवर्नमेंट कैन एग्जेम्प्ट एनी वर्क प्लेस और एक्टिविटी फ्रॉम द कोड इन केस ऑफ पब्लिक इमरजेंसी, डिजास्टर, पेंडेमिक अप टू एन ईयर. So this power is only with the central government. Now further, the state government, talking about the power of the state government. So state government can exempt a new factory from this code, specifying the period of creation for more economic activities and employment. Because COVID-19 के बाद आपने देखा होगा यूपी ने इन चीज़ों को चेंज किया, and they have asked the worker, the organization, establishment that they can have n number of hour, whatever they wish, but considering the fact it should not increase 8 hour or 10 hour, right? So this is something which has been taken by the other state governments. Now registration की अगर बात करें तो जो establishment would be covered by the code to register within 60 days. अगर कोई नई establishment है तो 60 days के अंदर उनको register करनी है with the registering office appointed by the central or the state government. तो registration और license important होगी ऐसे factories के लिए जो कि इस तरह के hazardous काम में involve होंगे. Now the factory may require to obtain the license to operate, and the code would require those hiring worker to contract labor or बीड़ी, cigar or other worker to obtain the license. Without license अगर वो operate करेंगे तो they would be punished and penalized. Now duties of employees की अगर बात करें क्या क्या duties हैं, तो duty of the employer include providing workplace that is free from hazards, informing relevant authorities in case of incident leads to death, serious bodily injury to the any employee. किसी भी एम्प्लॉय की जो सेफ्टी है वो एम्प्लॉयर की होगी, राइट? नाउ वर्किंग आवर की अगर बात करें तो कोई भी वर्कर वुड नॉट बी रिक्वायर्ड टू अलाउ वर्क इन एनी एस्टैब्लिशमेंट फॉर मोर देन 8 आवर इन अ डे. 8 घंटे से ज़्यादा किसी को काम करने के लिए अलाउ नहीं किया जाएगा इनिशियली. अगर कोई ओवर टाइम करना चाहता है सो द वर्कर वुड बी पेड twice the rate of the daily wages. So if X is the amount that is paid or A is the amount that is paid, तो उसका 2 times उनको पे करना पड़ेगा, राइट? एंड प्रायर कंसेंट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. जो वर्कर होंगे उनका प्रायर कंसेंट जरूरी होगा इफ दे आर वर्किंग फॉर द ओवर टाइम, राइट? नाउ द अदर प्रोविजन इज विथ रिगार्ड्स टू लीव. सो वर्कर कैन नॉट रिक्वायर्ड टू वर्क फॉर मोर देन 6 days a week. 6 दिन से ज़्यादा उनको एक सप्ताह में काम नहीं करना है. एंड दे मस्ट रिसीव 1 day leave for every 20 days work per year, right? So these are some of the important provisions of this bill that has been clearly stated for the safeguard, safety and sustainability of the workers. Now coming to the Factory Regulation Amendment Bill. So this is again very important, and the Factoring Regulation Amendment Bill seeks to amend the Factoring Regulation Act 2011, and this widen the scope of entities which would engage in the factoring business, right? तो कौन कौन से हैं जो इसमें इंक्लूड होंगे, मैं आपको उसका डेफिनेशन के साथ आगे बताता हूँ. सो डेफिनेशन ऑफ फैक्टरिंग बिजनेस क्या है? अगर फैक्ट्रीज एक्ट 2011 को देखें तो फैक्टरिंग बिजनेस इज अ बिजनेस जहां पे वेर एन एंटिटी, जिसको आप फैक्टर भी कह सकते हैं, रिक्वायर्स अ रिसीवेबल और अनदर एंटिटी रेफर्ड एज एग्रीगेटर फॉर द अमाउंट, राइट। तो ऐसी एंटिटी या इस तरह का बिजनेस जहां पे एंटिटी एक्वायर करती है रिसीवेबल फ्रॉम अदर एंटिटी, दैट इज नॉन एज फैक्टरिंग बिजनेस, राइट। और अगर रिसीवेबल की अगर बात करें, जो रिसीव करेंगे इज अ टोटल अमाउंट दैट इज ओड और येट टू बी पेड बाय द कस्टमर, जिसको डिबोटर्स भी कहते हैं, राइट। एंड टू द असाइनर फॉर द यूज ऑफ एनी गुड्स, सर्विसेज और फैसिलिटी। ना कुछ की प्रोविजंस हैं इसके, तो की प्रोविजन मैं आपको बता दूं क्या क्या है की प्रोविजन। सो अंडर द एक्ट, नो कंपनी कैन इंगेज इन फैक्टरिंग बिजनेस विदाउट रजिस्ट्रेशन विद द आरबीआई। तो आरबीआई के साथ रजिस्टर करना, आरबीआई की परमिशन, आरबीआई की अप्रूवल वुड बी द मैंडेटरी पार्ट। एंड फॉर अ नॉन बैंकिंग फाइनेंशियल कंपनीज जो एनबीएफसीज हैं, वो अगर इस तरह के फैक्टरिंग बिजनेस में अगर इंगेज होते हैं, सो financial assistance in the factoring business would be required, right? Income from more factoring business should be both more than 50%, like अगर gross की बात करें या gross asset और net income की 50% होने से ज़्यादा होनी चाहिए, and more than the threshold notified by the RBI, right? तो ये चीज़ों को minimum criteria that has to be fulfilled, and the bill remove the threshold for the NBFC। जो threshold NBFC के लिए रखी गई थी उसको फिलहाल के लिए हटा दिया गया। Now registration of transactions की अगर बात करें, तो under this act the factories are required to register for the details of every transaction। जो असाइनमेंट्स होंगे, जो रिसीवेबल होंगे, उन सारी चीज़ों को उसके फेवर में रखनी होगी। एंड दीज डिटेल्स शुड बी रिकॉर्ड इन द सेंट्रल रजिस्ट्री सेटअप अंडर द सेक्टराइजेशन एंड रिकंस्ट्रक्शन एसेट एनफोर्समेंट ऑफ द सिक्योरिटी इंटरेस्ट, जिसको सरफाइसी एक्ट भी कहते हैं, राइट। विद इन 30 days दे हैव टू मेंटेन द रिकॉर्ड। और बिल ने जो दिस 30 days का टाइम था, बिल ने इस चीज़ को रिमूव कर दिया है फिलहाल। ये दिस वाज द प्रीवियस वन, so this has been removed. Now it state that the time of the period and the manner of registration and the payment of late registration may be further regulated by the RBI, right? तो ये सारी चीज़ें RBI के अंदर ही होंगी अब। Now the other topic, that is the Banking Regulation Amendment Bill 2020. So this is again very important, आपके जनरल स्टडीज़ के पेपर 3 के लिए काफ़ी इंपॉर्टेंट है, and at the same time it is equally important for your prelims examination. So the Banking Regulation Amendment Bill 2020 was passed, and the bill amend the Banking Regulation Act 1949. The act regulate the functioning of the bank in aspects such as जो licensing है, management है और जो liquidation है, इन तीनों चीज़ों को regulate करेगी। तो क्या क्या की provisions हैं वो देख लेते हैं। So under this bill, the RBI may act. RBI, after placing the bank under the moratorium, it would prepare a scheme for reconstruction or amalgamation of the bank to secure its proper management, right? जो interest of depositor हैं या फिर जो general public ने जो banking system में जो moratorium लिया हुआ है या जिस तरह की कोई चीज़ें collaborate हुई है, तो उसको regulate करने के लिए RBI के पास पूरी power होगी। Now the bank placed under the moratorium faced restriction including making payments or discharging the liabilities। तो ये restriction होगी बैंकों पे जिन्होंने moratorium या फिर discharging liabilities को लिया हुआ है। And the bill will also allow the RBI to initiate the scheme for reconstruction or amalgamation of any bank without imposing the moratorium, right? So this is something which is being allowed by the bill. Now the bill also extend the regulatory power of the RBI over cooperative banks। ऐसा नहीं है सिर्फ commercial banks में होंगी, ये चीज़ें जो cooperative banks हैं उन पे भी apply होगी, and it will bring the regulation in line with those for the commercial bank as well, right? And it placed qualification like किस तरह की requirement होनी चाहिए chairman के लिए, जो board of directors होंगे RBI empower करेगी to remove them, उसको supersede, board को supersede करने के लिए सारी powers जो हैं वो RBI के पास होंगी। और जो लास्ट पॉइंट है, दैट बिल अलाउज द कोऑपरेटिव बैंक्स टू इशू इक्विटी, जो प्रेफरेंस होगी, जो स्पेशल शेयर है या फिर अनसिक्योर जो डेट है, उसको लेकर के द मेंबर्स और द अदर पर्सन रिसाइडिंग विद द एरिया विद द ऑपरेशनल सब्जेक्ट दैट वुड बी द प्रायर अप्रूवल ऑफ द RBI। तो सारी चीज़ों को दैट इज कमिंग अंडर द परव्यू ऑफ द RBI, and it is very important because cooperative bank में जिस तरह से recent में incident देखी गई है, so it become very important that in any functioning which is regard to the commercialization or the part of the payment that is done, the payment installment process or the moratorium, that has to be entirely regulated by the RBI, right? So this was all about the edition, and if you're new to our channel, we have a daily topic wise news analysis on daily basis where the news is covered from the Hindu and Indian Express. You can watch this series and you can save a lot of time in a day, right? So do check it out. We have a daily edition of daily topic wise news analysis. If you have any other concern, do let us know. We'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Wish you all the best. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you so much.